Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. I have an exciting show topic for us to talk about today, and I brought back Julia Pearce. She's here today, and she is actually the one that is going to support us with this next topic. And let's see if you can relate. So lots of changes going on in everyone's life. I know because I talk to people all the time, and everyone is like going, whoa, I can barely keep up. So we're going through a lot of changes, and then sometimes those changes can be traumatic, something that we weren't expecting, and other times the change is welcomed. But if the change comes and we weren't expecting it, that's what we want to talk about today. And Julia Pearce is the one that calls it waiting for the other shoe to drop. She says there are times in life when it feels like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, when one more thing is always happening and there may be continuous struggle, trauma, or hardship. While at these times, these experiences seem to be ongoing, they also bring growth, adaptability, and continual learning as we seek joy. They will also build our resilience and strength so that we can trust that we will never give up as we become incredible human beings. And let me remind you of who Julia Pearce is. She's an inspiring presenter and author whose passion for advocacy, personal lived experiences, and communication is truly remarkable. Julia is a well-known presenter, having spoken at local and national conferences on a variety of topics close to her heart. She's also written extensively about communication, advocacy, and her own personal experiences. Julia recently authored a powerful memoir sharing the life of her son, Dallin, who lived with multiple disabilities and changed the lives of everyone he met. With over 2 decades of experience working in education and assistive technology, Julia brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her work. Welcome back to the show today, Julia Pearce.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
So, what I know we were talking in the green room just before we came up, and you were saying this is always an exciting topic for you to talk about when we are possibly waiting for the other shoe to drop. And what that brings up for me right away is I can relate to that right now myself. And so waiting for the other shoe to drop would imply there's something that happened recently. And now we've got this kind of anxiety feeling or this quiet feeling like not really living in full trust that something else is going to go wrong. Is that what you're talking about?
So that's what it brings up for me as well, is that something just happened and yet something else could be coming, and we're not quite sure when it's going to be. That other shoe is going to drop. It's going to be coming. That anticipation is what's going to be happening. And that's what it has brought for me for many, many years. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that, yeah, you're passionate about talking with people about, because we are currently, so many people are experiencing so much change, so many things that are happening, in our personal lives and in the world. And so when these type of things happen for us, they happen to offer us the opportunity to become more resilient. Is that right?
So it can, and I think that's why we have this anxiousness, this waiting that it's going to drop on us, because we don't often want that next shoe to be coming along. For us in our family, the shoe that was going to drop often came with a centipede. So we often have 2 feet ourselves. Sometimes it's our neighbor's foot as well is going to drop on us. But in our house, we developed this thought in our head that the shoe was on a centipede, and this centipede has 100 feet. And those shoes became boots. And so it was this constant dropping of the shoe, and it was often ongoing. And so when you were describing this from this, it was this ongoing, never ending dropping of the shoe, this, which feels really fatiguing at times. And it's this, wait, when are we going to take a break? And I just need to stop being given opportunities, I say that in air quotes, of these opportunities for growth and opportunities to become resilient, because that centipede is always going to be there with that one more shoe. And that's sometimes what has come up a lot of conversations, is that shoe is going to drop, and it's on for us, that centipede. That's what our life has become many, many times, is it's just coming and coming and coming.
So
Yeah.
is this something that you're currently still feeling in your life, or
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, I think so, because I just went through a period of time where I thought, okay, we're in the clear. We're in the clear. There's some good things happening. And then one more thing happened, and I went, oh, that centipede is back. We have this visual in our minds. We have this visual in our hearts almost that we hold deeply. We're going to get a break, and it's here. And then the shoe keeps dropping. And it's sometimes it brings into us the hard stuff. It's the hard and the trauma and the struggle. And yet without those things, I wouldn't know how to come through the next hard thing, because I wouldn't have the previous hard things that I know I could come through. So it is continuous for us as well, for me, myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just give you the centipede is a really good description of what took place in my life in this short amount of time, from February 2nd to March 14th. So the reason why I know the dates is because they were pivotal changes. So on February the 2nd, my parents lost their home in a house fire on February the 2nd. Okay. And so 84 and 89, they live in a neighboring town. So February 2nd, March the 7th, my car was vandalized with red spray paint in a shopping parking lot at a shopping market at, between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. at night. Where someone took red paint and spray painted a silver car with red paint. And then a week later, my computer crashed. So these were so these were all big things, as we're talking about house, we're talking about car. Thank God there were no lives lost, but we're talking about big computer, my business, my work is online. And so these were a lot of things to deal with. And I think even you and I had our podcast, this topic scheduled during that time to speak about that subject.
Yes. Yes. And it just feels probably like, oh, going down, there's that other shoe. And I appreciate you sharing that, because sometimes it's big things, like you just had 3 big things happening. And sometimes when it's been a continuous trauma, it could be 3 little things. It could be not finding the right keys. It could be finding that you weren't able to get to your friend's home. It could be whatever it is, and the shoe that continually happens. And when you asked before, what is it that's happening right now? We have elderly parents as well, that it feels in our space of what can we do? What is it that we can do? And that's this opportunity that we have. And yet things get pretty big at times. And it's like, okay, there's one more. And um, these spaces and places of what is the next thing that we can do. And sometimes we're tired, and then we gather together. And I think that's a space that we think we have to do things on our own, in becoming and having those experiences around us of we've got to do it on our own. We've got to become on our own and not tell anybody that things are hard. And I'm not sure where that came from, although I do have an idea, because people have said things to us in the past. And yet we aren't supposed to go through things on our own. You were able to help your parents. Perhaps somebody helped you fix that car, and tech support is available. Thank goodness I am not tech support for my own computer systems either. So, when we go into these spaces and things get difficult with the shoes dropping and we're supposed to become resilient, we don't need to do it on our own. And I wonder if that's a misunderstanding among being together.
I love that so much, because pretty much the way that because you understand it, you were able to call out exactly. I went and helped my parents. Someone helped me with the car, and I did buy another computer. So, and tech support was available for that. It was very easy for me to get on my phone and order a new computer on my cell phone, which I never thought I would be able to do. That was like, because normally I would feel I need to see it like big. I need to see it like on a big screen. But no, I ordered it off of my cell phone, and that was a huge piece. So, so what are you saying then to us? What are you saying? Are you saying then that to embrace the shoe, embrace, embrace that energy, embrace knowing that the shoe, will continue on coming at various different times? Is that what you're saying?
So, as difficult that it was for me to come to this realization, I think that is part of it. I talked to a few of my friends and I said, what do you think about this? And they were like, I don't like this. I don't like it when the shoe is dropping. I don't like becoming more resilient, because that means something hard has come, not coming, but has come to me or somebody around me. For me, it was most difficult when I saw something hard coming to somebody around me. And that is still the most difficult part. For me, I can gear up. I can go up the hill. I can get into my strong parts, because I know I have done it before. But the hardest part is when somebody is going through it and I don't have the control. I don't have the space to say, I can do this for you, because we actually can't. And when the shoe is dropping for other people and we see it, it's so painful. As painful as it is for us to have that shoe dropping on us with the caterpillar or the big old bug with his many boots on, as painful as it is for us, I think it's more painful when it's happening to other people. And I found that watching my son go through the hardest things in his life, and it was through his illnesses. And he was the most resilient human that I have ever met, because he just did it as part of his essence, as part of his being. And I think watching him go through struggle and hardship that he didn't think it was life. He would get up again, and it was still really difficult because I couldn't take it away, and nor can I take it from myself. But what I can do is learn I am strong enough for this, and it will come again. That darn old thing with the shoe dropping, whatever you want to call it, I have friends who call it karma. What have
Mhm.
I done to deserve this? How can I be a better human? What can I do better for somebody else so I get less hardship? And I think that's a really big choice of way of looking at the world, because sometimes things happen and it's not because of anything that we have done, it's life. And then sometimes we have really great things go really well, and it has nothing to do with us. That's the joy of it, as well as sometimes you're saying, okay, there's no shoe dropping around me right now, and I am still becoming more resilient. I can then see the joy that happens alongside of me as well. And perhaps that's the piece that we can pay attention to alongside of embracing the hard, which took me probably even to this moment, as I am watching the things that happen around me still that I have no control of. As I'm looking around and saying, okay, I can still be curious with the world, even on difficult moments and difficult days. I can still look for those things, because do I really want to become stronger? I actually do. I actually do want to become stronger. And so I love that question. Do we need to embrace the shoes? Yeah, I actually do like my shoes. That's the other thing.
It's so it's so amazing when you look at it the way that you just laid it out. And that is, uh, when bad things happen to good people, when good
Mm,
things happen to good people. It's that energy when
yeah,
bad things happen to good people, when good things happen to good people. And again, because like you said, good things happen and it's happening. It's happening because not because of anything we did. It's just happening anyway.
yeah.
Things happen. So I think that's a key piece to know and to realize. And then the other thing is, being present, being a witness to the shoes dropping, even to the people that are close to us, that are around us, people that we can't do it for them, but we can be present with them. And I think a lot of times with what I have found, we all want to help. I think it's our human nature to want to help and fix it and make it better and make it right, right? But uh, other people have choices to make, and they have to choose and decide what's right for them. And it's not ours to fix and take on. And I think that sometimes just being present to witness, again, the people that we love going through their shoe experience is, is interesting.
Yeah, and it's also one of the hardest and most complex spaces, because many of us, like you said, do want to help or serve or be in a space to just take it. And yet, I have often thought we can't help a child learn how to walk until they are able to do that. We're not able to help somebody come through. It's theirs. It's theirs. And the same with hardship, with trauma, with whatever it is. It could also expand that and go into many others, whatever somebody is coming into, through, or alongside with them. And that also says, when people say they're tired, yeah, it's okay to be tired. It's okay
Yeah.
to pause. It's
So,
okay to say, yeah.
yeah. I'm feeling tired. Actually,
Mhm.
tired, is even the word. Exhausted is more like it. I'm exhausted, and at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm also excited. I'm excited to, move forward, and also I'm exhausted from what just happened. It's almost like my nervous system is needing that pause, like, to calm things down, because that was a lot of shoe. That was a lot of shoe, right?
Well, and I think that is a really important space to be aware of and to pay attention to. I, many, many years ago, stopped creating yearly goals and live in that space of be aware and pay attention, because our bodies will tell us when we need to do that pause, when we need to be in that awareness of, I don't need to go 24 hours a day. I don't need to make that other distance run. I sometimes think that we we judge ourselves so much more grandly by how much we're moving in a day alongside of that next list of things. And what if that shoe dropping is telling us, be still. I'm dropping you. I'm dropping you. And what if that's it as well? The what ifs of life, sometimes people go into, oh, all of the what ifs I could have, but what if we are paying attention to this space? And that also is, sometimes it's okay to be tired. That is also it. And then
Well,
rest up and begin again. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're talking about ambition and setting goals, and then the shoe drops and life happens and things, happen, normally we do not acknowledge that during the time when the shoe dropped and we became more resilient, or when we were living um, outside of our comfort zone, and we were becoming stronger, that that was part of the soul growth, if you will, more
Mhm.
important than the mind setting the date for the goal and the ambition to achieve a certain thing, right? Because that wasn't planned. It wasn't something that was written into the goal plan, but it certainly was soul fertilizing.
Yes. Yes. And how powerful that is to say, oh, now I'm going to grow here, or now I'm going to bend with it here. And that's paying the attention to what that shoe was dropping you into. I learned so many things from our son. I learned so many things of who I have become and I can become next, because we're never done. We're never done. There's a beginning, middle, and we're never done. Even when things are continually happening, that centipede, that big old bug with those boots on. And I think that's okay. And yet we need to become okay. And then perhaps grand. And then perhaps, who knows? Who knows what will be then? And those are big spaces to come into with one another, with one another.
It is. It's so good because, again, during the times, like you said it earlier, and this was a really neat way to look at it, because I hadn't thought about it that way. It can be little things. It can be little things, and it can be big things. So a lot of times we don't even really acknowledge all the little things, but I think they're
Mm.
important too, because they're also supporting you to grow, and these are not things that were written into the plan, but they definitely happened. So it's an important piece to acknowledge. The other thing that I think is key here is that when we're witnessing someone else go through their shoe dropping, or moments where they're being challenged, and we're present with them, and you said it already, it's not in our control. Letting go of control, that in itself is a practice as well, because you have to really let go, and you can't take it on or fix it. You have to be able to let go. So that in itself is a practice.
Yeah. And how do we do that? Right? That's the space, because we love that comfortable space. We love it. And sometimes you don't get to be comfortable and become stronger, or what you need to be, or what the person next to you needs to be. And that's where we get wrangly, or life twists, and you're saying, but I liked where I was before. Okay, so then we get curious and say, I wonder what that could be next. Or, huh. And none of us like it. None of us do that twist of where the shoe's going to drop you next, or drop on you, and it's going to leave a bruise, and people are going to know that you're changed. Yeah, yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So where does joy fit into all of this, Julia?
So joy for me comes right directly in the middle of it, because again, I think what we tend to do is wait for joy to come later. We wait for joy when that next vacation comes, or when the kids are done with, or when we get to the next job or promotion or house of our dreams, or wherever it is, we wait for it to come when. And I learned many, actually decades ago, I'm love where I am in my life now, even though it's not where I thought I would be, because of what we learned to create with joy all along the way. And sometimes it was right along a deep month-long illness. And perhaps it was with a deep understanding of, this is not what we like. This is not where we want to be. And yet in this moment, we can look into somebody's eyes and say, oh my gosh, I love being here. It's doing it alongside, because joy doesn't mean that we're laughing and giggling and throwing confetti into the air. It's not the snow globe of joy. For us, and for me, it became right this moment. If I am present right now, then I can find the joy. And sometimes we created it in those really intense, gnarly, you got to be kidding me, this is where we're going next, after that shoe had dropped. And then we chose to see the good and the joy. Holding both of those things together sometimes is what dropped us, but also brought us back up after we had melted. So I think that's where it becomes even more gnarly, and why I heard from some of my deep, dear friends who said, I don't like it. Just let me be happy all the time. But how do we know we're happy if we haven't experienced some really incredibly difficult things? If we don't know one, then we don't have the other. And I have been powerfully influenced by both.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't I mean, I don't know about being happy all the time. That's being happy all the time to me, even with what I was experiencing, this deep, intense energy right now, and loss, and
Yeah.
uh I with a lot of that, even like just the other day when somebody was asking me, how are you doing? And my answer, it was, I'm fine. I'm well. I said, I'm exhausted. I feel excited.
Mhm.
Feel happy inside. I mean, I feel happy inside. Uh, and even though it all is what it is, but I feel like, you know, um, to be able to say, I feel happy inside after the shoe dropped in these various different areas, to be able to say
Yeah.
that now, not even a month later or whatever, it's a big deal.
I think it also is how we view things. I had a conversation yesterday with a colleague, and he said, I'm going to choose to be in joy right now. And I was like, oh, okay. And we were enjoying lunch. And he said that. And I said, okay, we can choose even in the intense times. And there were times with our son and with other people that I've known that in the intensity of it, we could sit back and literally sit back into our space and say, in this moment, amongst all of the powerful medical happenings, in this moment, we would take a breath and say, joy right now, and connect with our eyeballs and make deep looks and say right now. And it would still be super and powerfully intense. And we were making hard decisions, and yet it was there for one moment. And then the shoes were dropping like rainballs and all sorts of things. And yet we could. And I think the resilience and the joy are things that we have chosen. And then there are things. 2 weeks ago, I said to my husband, I remember being resilient. And he said, yeah. I said, okay, I'm going to stuff it back in like cannolis. And I'm on the hunt for cannolis now because I need to remember how to push it back in, how to create it, how to do it again. And I think that's where we are sometimes. Sometimes it flows. Sometimes we must create it.
And even the most powerful is being able to choose it in the moment, right? I think that's a big piece, because in the moment is all. It is all we have. So being able to choose it in the moment, making that choice. And also you brought out a good point, and that is, what is your definition of joy? What's the definition of joy? It's not this really loud blowing trumpets kind of joy, but joy can be a peaceful feeling of being 100% present, feeling joyful at your presence, that you're free right now in this moment. And the trumpets aren't blowing, but you have this sense of joy inside. That's a really good feeling. That's a really freeing feeling. And what's true is we are human.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, being able to embrace our humanity, being able to embrace, that's why I said to you earlier, what would you like us to take away from this talk today, is that embracing the shoe.
Yeah.
Embracing the shoes. Yeah. Yeah.
Super fun.
Super fun. Super fun. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to highlight before we close out this enlightening conversation?
I think the other part of it is when we avoid the thing, whatever that is, if we're avoiding resilience, or if we're avoiding the hard stuff, if we are in that space, then we get to decide what that is about. If I am in avoidance, if I am doing that myself, then I sit with it and I wonder about it and I try and get curious with it, because it's telling me something. That avoidance, that staying away from it, when my friends are telling me I just don't want to, and I say, okay, I wonder what that is. And can we go into that together? And how can I be here with you with that? I am not, and nor do I like it when other people say, cheer up, or let's pull that bootstrap up, or let's go into this and I will help you. And by that, they mean I can make you come into this. And I think that's a space that we can come together and say, what can I do with you today? How can I serve you? How can I bring you with what you want to do? Because when we say, let's just pull yourself up, then we're not listening, and it's not serving either one at all. So when we're thinking about resilience, it's not a force. It's not saying you must. Sometimes we want to make people happier. We want to bring them out of whatever it is that we are seeing. And I wonder sometimes what that says about us. And I like to think about that as well because of what has happened in our lifetimes. The shoes dropping our life, and also is joy and all of our feelings. So, with that, uh, being aware and pausing, I think, are very wonderful, powerful, kind things to do for one another.
Such an important point. Yeah, this is not to pull someone out and fix it again and expecting them to be in a different state than
Yeah.
what they are in. Because again, that state of, like, it could be the state after the shoe drops. It could be the state of deer in headlights.
Yeah.
It could be that state. And that takes some time. It takes some time to get over and sit with and be with this initial loss and the shock and all the things that come with it. And, can we just be with each other in the middle of all of this without sweeping it under the rug, or telling you to get on
Mm.
with things and, make it better or whatever, or I don't know, try to, you know, even when people say things like, and I appreciate this. I appreciate when people do this, when they say, well, you know, at least they're not dead, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. I appreciate that. To make it seem like, okay, this is something to say. Okay, yeah.
Mm.
Know what I'm trying to say?
I do. People have such intent. I'm not sure what their intent is sometimes, and that's when I just am just going to give it. It's going to send you goodness and wish you well. I'm just going to
Yeah.
send it to you. Yeah, that's what we can do sometimes.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing that we can do. How can people look you up on social media and follow your works?
So one of the ways to find me is on my website. It's juliapearce.net. That's Pearce. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, also on LinkedIn under Julia Pearce.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Julia, for coming on today and having this wonderful, timely talk. We could have talked about this 1 month ago, and we're talking about it now, which was so perfect for me. And I hope
Yeah.
it was perfect for you too, the beloved audience here that tunes into the show. And we appreciate you. And then who knows, maybe in a few months or so, you'll come back and give us another one of your fantastic talks. It would be great to have you back, Julia.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take good care, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.